So I hope now you are able to see the slide.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, in the last class we discussed the Sassures, Lang and parole, the concept of Lang and the concept of parole. And we have also seen the analogy of chess. So what is a Lang? Lang is a system. And what is a parole? Parole is the instantiation of that system. So when you claim that you know a language, then in order to show you, in order to prove your claim that you know a language, you use that particular language in your real life situation. So we have this concept Lang and parole. And similarly, we find that Noam Chomsky also posited two terms. One is language with capital L and language with small l. Now we need to understand what is the difference between language with capital L and language with small l. Language with capital L is similar to Lang. It is also a system, and it is also known as I language. I means internal language, and we have language with a small l, that is the instantiation of that system, that is the use of that system in your day-to-day life, that is e language, that is external language. So one is abstraction, that means one is a system that you can't see, can't perceive, but that is shared by the entire speech community, that is shared by the entire speech neighborhood. That is your system. So if we claim that there is a speech community that speak Dogri language, that means we talk about capital L system. So we know that in Jammu and Kashmir there is a community, there is a speech community that speaks Dogri language. That means in that speech community, this capital L, that means language system, has been established, and that is internal, that is there in their brain, that is there in their mind, and they use it in small l, that means as an instantiation they use it. So that is their external language. When you use it, that is external. So this is the difference that we find between capital L language and small l language. But the difference uh, that we find between Saussure's Lang and Parole and Noam Chomsky internal and external language is that according to Noam Chomsky, this uh, this Lang is actually a biological fact, but according to Saussure, this Lang is a social fact. So this is the difference that we find in these two. Now the next topic that we will take into consideration now, and that is also associated with both capital L and small l, is acquiring versus learning a language. So what is the difference between these two terms? Once you say I have acquired language X, and when you say I have learned language X, so there is some difference that we find. Acquisition is associated with mother tongue, and acquisition is also associated that you do something unconscious. Here unconscious in linguistics we use for a thing for that we have not to do extra effort, but learning is associated with conscious effort. And when you say I have learned a language, that means you are uh, talking about a language that you have learned through putting very conscious effort. Now this difference is there. So language acquisition is associated with natural setting. Acquisition is associated with when we talk about that a child has acquired a language by reaching the age of 5. That is the concept of acquisition. So we also know that by before reaching the age of 5, we have acquired at least one language, and that language is your mother tongue. If more than one languages are spoken in your neighborhood, then there is a possibility that you can acquire all those languages that are spoken in your neighborhood, in your environment. For example, nowadays we find that parents one in parents, like mother is a Tamil and father is, let's say, a Hindi speaker. And when a child is born, then child picks up both the language, like Hindi from father, then Tamil from mother, and there is also a possibility that English is spoken in the neighborhood, then English. So three language child acquires by the age of 5. So that type of thing is natural setting, language acquisition. And even child does not know what type of difficulties I have faced learning the particular language, because we acquire that language in a natural setting. That means, like, we acquire a language when we are at home, we are living among our parents, among our relatives, and then we acquire that. So this process is unconscious. But here unconscious doesn't mean the medical unconsciousness, but here it means subconscious. That means we are not actually aware of this process. So what do we mean by this process of language development in humans that occurs without instruction? No one is instructing us that, okay, you need to use declarative sentence like this, you need to use a phrase like this, how you need to raise a question, how you need to negate something, how you need to raise a demand, how you need to become angry, how you need to show your anger. All such things are acquired in a natural setting. But when it comes to language learning, then we talk about foreign language learning. We talk about a language that we have learned in educational system, a language that we have learned in a school. So that is very much a condition. That means first condition in a school is to you need to go to a school, let's say 7 to 12, or let's say 9 to 3. You need to be there. At the same time, you need to study books, you need to attend classes, you need to pass examination. So all such things are very much conditioned. Some instructor is coming and giving you lessons, some instructor is coming and continuously checking your progress, some instructor is coming and regularly uh, checking your progress, as well as providing you tips how can you be better, or where you are going wrong. So all such things are very much conditional, and they are the part of language learning. So what is language learning? Process of gaining conscious knowledge of a language through instruction. So this is a difference. So generally, as an adult, if I start learning French now, then it will never be language acquisition, it will always be a language learning. So so we can't learn a language after puberty. So there are lots of experiments, and the outcome of those experiments is that after puberty, our our two hemisphere of the brain uh, is properly divided. So we have a left hemisphere, we have a right hemisphere, and once they are properly divided, then we can't have the same sort of mastery over a language. So we can also feel that we do not have the mastery over a second language as we have in our mother tongue, and the reason is because there is a proper partition of brain that we have. And but it happens after puberty. But language acquisition is mostly associated with mother tongues. Language acquisition is mostly associated with L1. L1 can be one language, L1 can be many languages. It depends upon that how many languages are spoken in the environment you live. So if you are living in an environment where there is only monolinguals are living, only people who speak one language they are living, then only you will pick only one language. And generally language acquisition takes place by the age of 5. So that is the thing that you have. So this is the thing that you need to remember, what is the difference between acquiring versus learning a language. Now there is one innate hypothesis that is associated with this, and there is this term innateness hypothesis, actually coined by Hilary Putnam for linguistic theory of language acquisition. So there is a linguistic theory of language acquisition, and what is it? According to Chomsky, some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth. So Chomsky believes that human beings, when they are born, then they have some knowledge about language, and for that particular reason, Noam Chomsky, Noam Chomsky states that language with capital L is actually a biological fact. It is not a social fact, unlike Saussure. So what is the basis of this? What is the basis of this argument that some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth? So, argument one is language does not depend on intelligence or IQ. So, we have lots of IQ tests, we have lots of intelligence tests, but language acquisition has nothing to do with that. So even many a severe cognitive impairment can still use language. So we have seen that retarded students or retarded children, they also use language with the equal ease as the normal children do. So this is the first argument, that some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth. So this is the first reason. Second is language acquisition is fast and easy for humans. So I do not know like how I have acquired my mother tongue Hindi, and similar is the situation with you. You do not know like how you have acquired, let's say, Dogri, Kashmiri, Gujarati, or any other language. So that is like we have acquired something with ease. That's why we do not remember. And if we had acquired it with difficulty, then there are chances that we must have remembered it. So this is the reason that language acquisition is fast and easy for humans. That is the second argument for some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth. For that, what is the final argument that we have? Children everywhere follow the same sequence of steps across culturally worldwide. So whether as a child who is learning French language, a child who is learning Spanish language, a child who is learning English language, a child who is learning Dogri language, the acquisition takes place almost at the same time. So it doesn't happen that someone who is learning a French language will acquire it early and someone who is learning a Dogri language will acquire it late. It will never happen. So children everywhere follows the same sequence of steps also, like first they will learn one word, then two word step. So holoplastic step is there, two word step, three word step, and one short sentence step, and likewise they follow. So this thing is there, that the sequence followed by all children across the globe is same. So when Hilary Putnam used this term innateness, then actually he wanted to target linguistic nativism and Chomsky's view. And we already know like what is this linguistic nativism. Nowadays, linguistic nativism and innateness hypothesis, they are treated as same. And Chomsky's view is like some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth. So this is the thing, like Hilary Putnam used in a different sense and wanted to target that this type of thing cannot happen. But actually, this argument, like innateness hypothesis, which claims that some knowledge about language exists in humans at birth, this is quite a valid one and a prevalent one. So this is the thing, that theory, and basically this is a theory, linguistic theory of language acquisition, that grammar is largely hardwired into the brain. So this type of thing that is there, that we have with this innateness hypothesis, and again this thing is associated very much with language acquisition. Now this linguistic nativism was the actual term posited by Noam Chomsky. And what is this linguistic nativism? A theory that states that humans are born with some knowledge of language and they acquire a language not entirely through learning. So that means like when a child is born, in the brain some knowledge is there, some knowledge is there. Now what type of knowledge is there? It is not the case like if child is born in a Dogri culture, then the knowledge of Dogri culture is there, or if a child is born in, let's say, a French in France, so the knowledge of French language is there. This is not the case. Chomsky claims that humans are born with a set of language learning tools referred to as LAD, language acquisition device. So this is the claim made by Noam Chomsky. Now you can't see LAD, you can't see language acquisition device, but this device is like this in the figure, as you can see. So what the mind receives, a child receives input in the form of primary linguistic data. That means child hears what adults are speaking around him, her. So that becomes the input. And based on that input, general language learning principle, child mind starts working, and child minds start segregating, like, okay, these sounds are important for me, these sounds are not important for me. Child starts learning, like, okay, these are language sound, these are other sounds. Then child start learning, okay, how to combine these sounds and make a meaningful utterance. So this type of thing child does. And then child also uh, frames some grammatical knowledge rules, and then child starts speaking. So this type of thing, it's a very easy diagram, but this is a very complex procedure that happens in the mind of every child. So what is this language acquisition device? It is actually an abstract part of the human mind. So we can't see something. So it is like a system that is developing in the mind of a child. So we have this system. We have mastered this system. Again, but no one can see where is this system located in our brain. So this is actually a system, an abstract part of the human mind, which has the ability for humans to acquire and produce language. So this is a term that we have, LAD, language acquisition device, for this. So based on this linguistic nativism and this theory that we are born with some knowledge of language, Chomsky gives another term, universal grammar. And what is this universal grammar? A theory of genetic component of the language faculty. Now, what is this genetic component? And genetic means like something that is coming into our genes. So that component we are talking about. So it is a blending of biology and language. So it is like a biolinguistic thing that we can treat as universal grammar, because it is a theory of genetic component of the language faculty. So what does it mean that language is genetic? That is one thing, language is genetic. And how language can be genetic, that we need to understand, because certain set of structural rules are innate. So certain rules, language rules, are innate to humans. What type of rules are there? For example, in every language we have noun and verbs. Fine. And we know that noun are different from verbs, verbs are different from adjective. That type of thing is there. Function words are different from the content word. That is also the story of same. That is the story of story in all languages as well. So these are the certain set of structural rules. These are only the examples, but there are other rules as well. So these are the structural rules. They are innate. That is genetic. Language is genetic. And child receives linguistic stimuli, and stimuli is like a motivation, that I need to speak. If I want to assert my demand, if I want to say something, then I must speak. So this is like linguistic stimuli a uh, child learns, child receives. And all children, they adopt specific syntactic rule that conforms to UG. So it's different children, they are born in different cultures that we know. And what do they do? So they receive linguistic stimuli, and they adopt a specific syntactic rule. Specific means the rules in Dogri, they are different, and the rules in French, they are different. The rules in English, they are different. So they adopt themselves based on that linguistic stimuli, and these rules are conforming to UG. So UG means universal grammar. It is not the case they are not conforming to universal grammar. So it's not the case we have noun, we have verbs, and they have something altogether different word class. They have entirely different grammatical category. That is not the case. So they have we have certain human sounds, and the combination of sounds can be different. That child can learn, then child can adopt himself, herself. So that type of thing is there. Now we will see 5 hypotheses of Krashen's theory of second language acquisition. Now second language acquisition is like a learning, but here the Krashen has used second language acquisition. So when we talk about L2, when we talk about second language, that means we are talking about learning, that we are talking about not the mother tongue. Fine. So that difference you always need to make. But here the term is acquisition that we have used. So this is the theory of second language acquisition, and the first hypothesis given by Stephen Krashen is acquisition learning hypothesis. Now what is this acquisition learning hypothesis? According to Krashen, there are two independent systems of foreign language performance: the acquired system and the learned system. Now here Stephen Krashen makes a difference between these two types of system. The acquired system or acquisition is the product of a subconscious process, very similar to the process undergo when they acquire their first language. So what Krashen is saying, like even you are learning a second language, then in that also you have two independent system. Let's say today I start learning French language, then again like I have two systems. One is the acquired system and second one is the learned system. That Krashen says. And what is this? So the acquired system is the product of subconscious process, very similar to the process undergo when they acquire their first language. This is first thing. And it requires meaningful interaction in target language. So this is like, if I have not acquired a language, then I cannot interact in a particular language. Let's say English is my second language. So English I have not picked up as a child. So for that also, like, but I can speak in English very comfortably. I can talk to people in English very comfortably. I can create new sentences in English. There is no problem in that. And even an English speaker is talking to me, I understand very well what the person is saying. So how this happens? How this happens? It requires meaningful interaction in the target language. So that means like I can communicate naturally. So that part of English, though English I have learned, that is my acquired part. That is the part of my acquisition system, according to Stephen Krashen. And we have the learned system, or learning is the product of formal instruction. That means I know when there is a construction like John loves Mary, that John is a subject and Mary is an object, and loves is a finite verb, and finite verb tells us about the tense and time. So this knowledge is a learning knowledge that we have. It comprises a conscious process which results in conscious knowledge about the language. So grammatical rules I know. I can check like whether which sentence is grammatically wrong. All such things are the part of learned system. So you can consider it like certain things, like when you can speak language, then you are not thinking about like whether you are following the grammatical rules or not, but actually you are following unconsciously. So that is the difference Stephen Krashen makes in the first hypothesis, that is known as acquisition learning hypothesis. The second hypothesis given by Stephen Krashen is the monitor model. The monitor hypothesis explains the relationship between acquisition and learning and defines the influence of the latter on the former. So this type of thing is like Stephen Krashen asserts like there is a difference. There is a difference between acquisition and learning, but there is also some relationship between acquisition and learning. And this monitor hypothesis explains this relationship and defines the influence of the latter on the former. So what is this relationship? According to Krashen, the acquisition system is the utterance initiator, while the learning system performs the role of the monitor or the editor. So like two things are there. Utterance, when I say something, when I when I start speaking, then it is the part of acquisition system. But there is also a possibility that in place of saying children, sometimes I say childs. Fine. So this type of thing is there, but immediately saying childs in place of children, I realize, or immediately after saying, let's say dinner for lunch, or for let's say for let's say for dinner I say lunch, or sometimes I say breakfast and then lunch. So that type of thing is like immediately after uttering that, I realize that okay, I have committed a mistake in the English language. Or when I mispronounce the word, I remember that okay, I have committed a mistake. So that type of thing is the monitor thing, that I know that I have committed a mistake and I know how to correct it. So while learning system performs the role of monitor or the editor, the monitor acts in a planning, editing, and correcting function when three specific conditions are met. So when this monitor comes into play, the second language learner has sufficient time at their disposal. So this only happens when you have some time. So sometimes like when you are writing, then you have more time than you speak, that you already know. So you know, like you can correct yourself, you can think and then write. So that type of thing. They focus on form or think about correctness, and they know the rule. So this monitor thing only functions when you have these three things, like you know the rule, you know the correct form, you are more focused, and you have some time to correct it. So this type of thing is there. Most of the time when we speak, we do not have that much time. So when you are speaking fluently in any language, then you do not have that much time that you can correct yourself. Only after uttering that, then you realize, oh, I have made a mistake. So that type of thing is there. That is the monitor hypothesis. Then the third hypothesis is input hypothesis. And what is this input hypothesis? The input hypothesis is Krashen's attempt to explain how the learner acquires a second language. So again, like second language, and we have seen that Krashen has used acquisition term for second language. So how second language acquisition takes place? That is the thing. The input hypothesis is only concerned with acquisition and not learning. So this input hypothesis, we have only acquisition and not learning. So for example, if a learner is at a stage I, fine, there is one stage, let's say I, then acquisition takes place when she is exposed to comprehensible input that belongs to level I plus 1. So that is like if you are, let's say at stage 2, I is, let's say, stage 2. There are 5 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you are now at stage 2. So consider, let's say, if you are at stage 2, then how the acquisition of stage 2 will take place? The acquisition of stage 2 will take place when you are exposed to comprehensible input that belongs to the level 2 plus 1, that means at 3. So that means like once you are exposed to level 3, then the acquisition of second takes place. This is the way you can understand it. The next hypothesis is affective filter hypothesis. Now what is this affective filter hypothesis? In this hypothesis, Krashen's view is that a number of affective variables play a facilitative but not causal role in second language acquisition. Now affective, like let's say like when you are learning a language, then there are lots of factors that are responsible for learning a language. And what are they? Motivation, like why do you learn a language? Let's say someone asked me to learn French language, then I will definitely ask what is the motivation. Motivation means what I will get out of it. That is the thing, self-confidence. So if I do not have confidence to speak a language, I can never speak a language. Anxiety, personality traits. Personality traits means like if I have a flair of language, then definitely I'll go for French language. If I do not have a flair for language, then I will never go for next or any other language. Anxiety, like lots of students, they are introvert, so they are very well when they are sitting silently, but if someone asks them to speak anything, then they become very anxious. So this is like anxiety that they have. So this affective filter hypothesis deals with affective variables. So they are variables, that means like in some students you will find some, in other students you will find the other. That's why we use the term affective filter. So this is the fourth hypothesis that we have. So we are discussing the theory of language learning acquisition posited by Krashen. First hypothesis is acquisition learning hypothesis. Second is your monitor hypothesis. Third is your input hypothesis. And fourth one is your affective filter hypothesis. The last one is your natural order hypothesis. Now, what is this hypothesis? The acquisition of grammatical structures follow a natural order, which is predictable. Natural order, like the universal grammar thing that posited by Noam Chomsky, that it is not the case like a child will behave entirely different if the child is learning French language, and the child will behave entirely different if a child is learning Hindi language. That will never happen. That will never happen. So the acquisition of grammatical structures follows a natural order. That means you start with a syllable, you start with one word, then two word stage, then three word stage, then a phrase stage, then a clause stage, then a sentence stage, and then naturally you start producing entirely new and creative sentences, or you start using creative language creatively. So this is the natural order hypothesis. For a given language X, you can consider any language, some grammatical structure tend to be acquired early while others late. For example, you will acquire monosyllabic word first, then the complex words. So you know the difference between monosyllabic and complex. For example, happy is a monosyllabic word. So it will never happen that first you will acquire unhappiness and then you acquire happy. It will never happen, because unhappiness is a complex word and simple word is happy. So how this thing will take place? First you will always acquire happy, and then you will reach to unhappy, happily, or unhappiness. So these are the 5 hypotheses that we have posited by Krashen in his theory of second language acquisition. So this we have discussed. Now you very well know after this class that what is the difference between lang and parole. You also know what is the difference between language with capital L and language with small l. You also know what is the differences between language acquisition and language learning. So all those things you know from this class, and we end this session. And if you have any doubt or question, you can raise your question. I will try to answer your doubt.